I don't just say, oh, we have a problem. Okay, we're dead. No, I'm like, no, we have a problem. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of what I get excited about is someone bring me that problem. Like, oh, this is going to be awesome. We're going to move forward no matter what. We're going to figure it out and ask questions later.
Hi, and welcome to the Flat Bill Investors Podcast. I'm Josh Siglowski.
I'm Zach Spencer. Welcome. Hey, Josh, we are so happy. We've already been chatting a little bit. You can tell my energy is up. We have a really, really great guest today. This guy comes from Alpine, Utah. Some of you guys might know where that's at. Family man, got a wife of 26 years, which is no small feat. So congratulations. 3 kids and a dog. Sounds like the American dream you're living. Above and beyond that, you've got a great company with great branding, very recognizable, and a very fun product. So, hey, we've got Russ Warner here.
Hey, guys.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming on, man. It's really
good to
great
be
to
here.
have you.
Meet you guys and have a little fun.
Same.
We already had a minute to kind of chat a little bit, and it's been really nice to hear some of your stories. But tell us a little bit about you, your background, and
I 54 years old and thought entrepreneurship. I started when I was a little kid. I had my first little company in elementary and junior high, making chocolates and candy and selling to the St. Mark's Hospital and other stores. So I was a young entrepreneur, then started a landscaping lawn care business in college, dropped out because I realized professors never owned a business. And I'm like, you guys are dumb, and so then jumped in.
You didn't realize that in college, though?
Good.
I realized it later.
Yeah.
you're like,
Wait a second. You guys are teaching me what?
Yeah, I was at college asking this business professor, like, all right, yeah, he's like, this is the way businesses run. I go, what business did you own? He goes, well, no, I just know philosophy of business. I was like, dude, I'm kind of done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, then jumped in, opened up a mortgage company in early 90s and did that for about 30 years. Yeah, then had a midlife crisis. You buy a sports car, you start another company.
What color Porsche did you get?
Yeah, well, I started a company. So I started Go Sports as a hobby. Went viral. And it was the best thing in my life is a place for all my kids to come work and hire their friends and their friends' friends and their friends' friends' friends.
Yeah.
So that's what we became over the last 8 years.
Yeah, so I have a question. So we have, like I said, we have a Go Sport. I have a Go Sport.
Yeah.
Josh has one. We've got this plexiglass sign behind us, which is awesome. We'll show that. But why plexiglass boards, and like, where did that even start?
Yeah, so 2011, one of my neighbors, named Brett Johnson, is my business partner, was working on a set. He worked for a big manufacturing place that would set up like stages for like companies, and he had some extra plexiglass and just cut out the shape of a skateboard and brought it home to his son Eric, and Eric threw some wheels and trucks on it, rode over my house because his son was best friends with my son, and I looked outside sitting on my grass like, what is that? And he goes, oh, my dad just made this skateboard out of plexiglass. So it was really Brent's idea. I went out there, I go, can I ride it? I went and rode it. I go, this thing's got some bounce on it, some smooth, it's weird and wild. And I've always dreamed of having like a clear car where you see all the wires and everything through it. It'd be really kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I go, man, I want one. So I called up Brent. I said, you give me one of those? He goes, no. And he told me no for 4 years. And he finally made me one.
Did he tell you why he wouldn't give it to you?
He's just kind of stubborn.
Oh,
And,
there you go.
And I was his friend, neighbor, so I got to ask him every month.
Yeah.
I was really persistent.
Yeah.
So I really don't give up because I always believe if people say no today doesn't mean no tomorrow. I just kind of put off to yesterday. I don't really remember yesterday.
Yeah.
Didn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
So I would ask him like every month. I was his home teacher. So I could go over there every month and ask him for his skateboard.
Nice.
He finally gave me one.
Closing prayer. He's adding that.
Yeah. And I was riding around. I went back to him. I go, Brent, I can have a lot of fun with this. We can do any design, any shape, any wheel color, truck color.
Yeah.
And I said, why don't we sell these?
And I mean, he's got a staging company. That's his background.
Yeah. He used to live in California. He built lifeguard towers for a living. And so he's a hands-on builder, designer, doing stuff. Came up to Utah.
Like what is both your backgrounds in skateboarding in general?
I was a skater as a kid. So I was one of those 12-year-olds with a mohawk, listening to Metallica, skating, causing trouble.
I didn't know Metallica skateboarded.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
They do, yeah.
All the
'Cause I love Metallica and I didn't skateboard.
little suicide tendencies, all that.
There you go.
I was that skater boy. That was my transportation. And so I knew how to skate. I loved it. And then when you get old, you're like, man, what hobby am I missing out on? And I was like, I don't want to run because that seems boring. And riding a bike hurts your butt. I'm like, skating sounds fun to do again.
Sure.
You know, when you're in your 50s. And then I looked at longboards. I thought, okay, longboard's a little bit safer. You know, it's bigger wheels, bigger board. I don't have to worry about hitting a pebble and dying.
Yes.
So when he made this longboard, you know, I looked at the longboard in my garage like, man, that is a piece of junk. So I chucked it in the garbage. I go, Brent, let's sell these. He told me no for another 2 years.
Oh,
So
wow.
this was a 6-year.
And how old are you at this point?
I'm 54, so whatever, 2011. So in my 40s.
Okay.
But it's funny you're talking about getting rejected this many times
Yeah.
because you start out the story. It reminded me of like when I talk about my daughter, like I talk about in my book that in our hot tub, she wanted to start a business. And I told her like, let's first talk about fear of rejection, fear of failure. And you talked about being in the hospital and guaranteed you're rejected a few times, like selling candy.
Yeah.
You know, so early on, I mean, that's how you kind of build this business thick candy shell.
You do. I think in business, you just have to say, I think guys are a little bit easier for a rejection than women are.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because we go ask a girl out, she says no, we go to the next one. And she says no, we go to the next one.
Yeah.
And girls, I think, have a harder time in business because they're being judged all the time. Well, your hair sucks, or your
Well,
you know,
my
this
wife
sucks, or
dates
what
getting
you dress.
rejected if she asks someone to lunch. So
Yeah, because they grew up not getting rejected, and so they go to business. It's a little bit harder on them.
yeah, for
It's
sure.
new to them.
Absolutely.
And they're like, oh, I don't know how to deal with this. Me, I'm like, I don't know. I've been rejected a million times, but it's not a big deal.
Right.
I don't know.
Just keep moving.
Yeah, it gives me hope for my kids because they don't take no. They're like, let's.
Yeah, yeah. You turn 19 and you go knock doors, you know,
Yeah.
and you get rejected 1,000
Yeah.
times. So at rejection, I was just like, hey, whatever. He's rejected me for 6 years. I'm just going to keep asking. He finally said, I said, all right, Brent, I have a deal. I go, do you want a new car? He goes, man, yeah, I'd love to get a new car. I go, sweet. I have a deal for you. I go, how about I just sell enough boards that you get enough for a house payment or a car payment, and I'll sell enough for me to get a new car payment. He goes, all right, deal. So I ran and hurry made a Shopify website, like 2 hours on a Saturday, launched 10 designs, and just started selling a few. It wasn't very many.
Uh-huh.
It would be like, yeah, you get the ding on Shopify, ching, ka-ching, and you sell like 3 a month. You're like, oh, sweet, that was fun. Then you get the 10 a month. You're like, okay, this is still kind of cool. I'm doing it at night, you know, with my kids. We'll make the boards, and he's making them at his work during his lunch break. He's like, all right, Russ, I'll make these during my lunch break, and then drop them off my house 6 o'clock. And then I'm like, oh, I'll assemble them. I'll get some fun wheels and bearings. So I'm buying like 50 different types of wheels, 50 different types of bearings. I'm like,
Yeah.
what kind do I want? Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Uh-huh.
And it was going like that, maybe 10. We got up to like 30, you know, so it was one a day, or, you know, or less than that. We're like, it's not a big deal.
That's
Yeah.
probably kind of feel pretty good though.
Yeah,
I get like a
It
consistent.
is money for a car payment. I'm like, hey, I can go get a new car.
And what are you doing full time yourself? Like,
So I was running a mortgage company.
okay, you're still in the mortgage business at this time.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this time I was traveling still a little bit because I had like 38 branches and a couple hundred employees, but I was just taking care of the company, you know, training underwriters and funders and sales guys and marketing, but just have a lot of fun with the mortgage because that's what I knew.
But this was post mortgage meltdown. You're still in the mortgage business.
Yeah, on that mortgage meltdown was another, that's where all my gray hair actually came from.
Yeah.
You know, I had, I was flying, taking back houses, taking keys of, you know, foreclosing, shutting down branches.
Yeah, it was a crazy
Try-
time.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
what
it
time. It
was-
was like,
it
and it was
was,
like overnight too. It was crazy.
And during that, I remember one day I woke up and we lost $1 million 1 month. Then the CEO said, if we don't change this by the end of today, we're out of business. And we did. The very next month, that was in August, and in September, we made a profit. But they put all that pressure on me to go fix all those changes. So
Yeah.
I'm firing, merging offices, you know, doing things, raising fees, raising price, like a whole nother life and world.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think all businesses go through those ebbs and flows of the roller coaster world. And even Ghost does, you know, I mean, once we started launching, you know, our first big order was from a neighbor. He was right behind me, His name was Paul Dixon at Vivint. And he goes, hey, can we get 150 of those boards with the Vivint logo? And I was like, I went to Brent. I go, do you think we do this? He goes, no. And I went back to him. Yeah, Paul, we can do that.
Yeah.
You know? And he was like, oh my gosh, Russ, I don't know how we're going to pull that off. How we're going to get 150 boards. But we did. And also we delivered them. I get this check for like 15 grand. I'm like, hey, that was actually kind of sweet. You know, I go, here, Brent, here's some money. You know, I'm going to put some of it back in marketing. I'm going to put some of it in Google ads and Instagram and just build this again. And we kept getting a couple of company orders like that. And so it was like, oh, here's another 100 board order. But then we'd go back to our direct to consumer doing our 30 boards a month. So that was all through like 2017, 2018 is just a little ebbs and flow of this hobby is all it really was of just having fun.
At this point, is he still just like hand cutting all these?
Yeah.
Is that why I feel like there's a little pressure, but
It's a CNC machine, so he has to program the machine and, you know, do it, and he's still doing them. So we went to his company and they had this, you know, $100,000 machine. We said, can we work a deal with you? Can Brent use the machine on his lunch break, before work, after work, and we'll pay you $5 a board? And they're like, okay, that's cool. They loved Brent. They loved our product. Actually, became one of our customers.
Yeah.
So they bought a couple hundred boards from us to give out to their clients.
Yeah.
So we're paying them and they're paying us.
Yeah.
And so it was this kind of fun thing. So we're storing material at the warehouse of theirs. We're using their machine. It's going pretty good. And they just dropping them off at my house, and I'm building them I'm hiding parts for my wife behind the piano, under the couches, you know, in the garage, down the hall. There's parts everywhere, you know, skateboard stuff. End of the day, I sweep it all under the couches so no one can see it.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not making a mess in the house.
Yeah, and that's how it started, is that hobby until that viral moment. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's, you hear about people hitting a lottery or going down to Vegas and hitting all cherries. That was us in a business. We never really meant it to be a business. It was just a hobby to make a few $100s for a car. And back in my head, I was like, this is cool. This is fun.
Yeah.
Brent never really wanted to be more than a hobby. And I did. I'm like, this could be a business. Yeah. What happened to us is a girl named Maddie in Ohio bought a board with a butterfly on it. And she's a senior in high school. She does a thing called TikTok.
Uh-huh.
And at this time, adults weren't allowed on TikTok. It was for you had to be under 30. Actually,
Like on the rules,
yeah, well,
or just like an unspoken rule.
That was kind of the thing. It was a broken rule that adults were not allowed on this because it was a dance.
Unwritten rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unwritten rule. Yeah. So I didn't have it. Didn't know what it was. I was told, from all my kids, no, Dad, you can't be on Snapchat. No, you can't be on TikTok.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so I was like, okay, whatever. You just guys go do your little dancing videos. And she did a video saying, hey, I bought this ghost longboard out of Utah, and I'm going to show you how to ride it. And TikTok, I don't know why, they grabbed it and said, we're going to let 50 million people see this without asking us or telling anybody. It was just one of those. And all of a sudden, the phone had like 600 orders one day.
Oh, wow.
My phone is going ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching all day. I'm like, I got to silence this thing. I don't know what's going on. I think I have a virus. Brent calls me and, hey, do we have a virus? I don't know. I'll see if I can get a hold of Shopify. I'll find out what's going on. And I'm scrolling through the orders. They all look legit. I'm thinking, whoa.
Better get to work.
Reality hadn't hit me yet. I'm this optimist, just kind of have fun with it. No thinking how we're going to do it. I'm just thinking, oh, this is so cool. Look at, we just made whatever, like $40,000 today or whatever it was. And I'm thinking, this is really cool. And then the next day, the same thing happened. And then Brent calls me this panic, just yelling he's yelling, shut it off now. I'm like, oh no, this is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not thinking of the reality. And I go, and he goes, Russ, listen to me. We cannot make 1,000 boards. I don't have that much material. You don't have that many wheels. You don't have that many trucks. There's no possible way we can do this. And I go, oh my gosh, you're right. We can't. So I do. I shut the website off. In a panic, he comes over to my house like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Do we give everybody back their money? Or do we try to fulfill it? I'm like, give me a minute. Let me think about it. I'd like to see if we could pull it off. Something. And there's a lot of money that's now sitting in the bank.
Yeah.
I call a friend down in California that owns a skateboard distribution company named Alan Wong. And I go, Alan, hey, I'm in a bind. He goes, yeah, I saw it. Everybody has seen it. This thing is going viral. And I'm getting like 600 emails a day. Why can't you why can't we buy anything? And I go, Alan, he goes, Russ, I got you. Turn your website back on. People want your skateboards. I'll help you. He goes, I have thousands of trucks and wheels and bearings. I've been doing this for years. I can help you get everything you need, but turn your website back on. So I have Brent and his wife come over to my house. We sit on the couch together as husband and wife. I go, Brent, what do you think? And I go, what do you make at your job? He told me, I go, I think you ought to quit your job. We have enough money in the bank to pay you for the rest of the year.
Wow. So you really sold a lot of boards.
Yeah.
What year was this?
This was right at the beginning of 2020.
So you're talking to him about possibly quitting this job, but are you still in the mortgage business?
Yeah, I'm still in the mortgage
So
business.
you're actually considering quitting your job too.
Yeah, and I was at a position in the mortgage company. I was running the company. I was just running the all company calls. I was really only working a couple hours a day. So I had a right-hand guy taking care of operations. I was the guy, if they had problems, they just would call me.
Sure.
Hey, Russ, this branch has this. This underwriter was not talking to this regional. So I was just the guy, the middle guy between ops and sales.
Sure.
And running the company. So I would get on calls with ops from, on Mondays with the president on Monday. On the Tuesday, I get on with underwriters. On Wednesday, I'd get on with sales. On Thursday, all company call.
Yeah.
Friday, I get on with my marketing guy. But then I had my guys that were I really set up the company well-oiled machine. I mean, I had kind of everybody trained, everything.
That's
in a
great
good position.
So you were in a spot that at that point, you're like, I can still probably handle it.
I could take a call. I could do this. Yeah, it's not a big deal.
So being in 2020, I mean, everyone knows that's pandemic year. So is this before or after that?
I think it was right when people still didn't quite know what pandemic was.
So you're sitting down with Brent right before pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And no one owned a mask yet and anything like that. I said, quit your job. And so I flipped the website back on and we did like $965,000 that month. So just under $1 million.
Unreal.
That is unreal.
And it's a good and bad problem again. I'm the optimist, like, oh, sweet, we got $1 million that's sitting in the bank, or I'm like, we can spend it.
One thing that we always talk about is there's a book called Traction. And then after the book Traction, there's a book called Rocket Fuel. When he wrote the book, he surveyed Fortune 500 companies. He was a consultant, right? And Traction talks about like having your company organized. And there's actually representatives across the nation that are EOS certified, which is called Entrepreneur Operating System. What he noticed is if a company is successful, they have at least two people, a visionary and an integrator. And the way you're talking is that's who you are.
I'm a visionary. I tell Brent, ideas, and he executes really well on design.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it, because the companies I had before, I would say before 2020, I was always the visionary, and my partner was a visionary too. I bet I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that's
so my success started in 2021, when now every business I have, there's got to be one of two of those people. Yeah.
Yeah. And even my marriage, we're polar opposite. She's detailed. She went to college. I didn't. I mean, relationships is you need somebody that's polar opposite than you. Yeah. And that's what we are.
Which probably causes a little bit of tension here and there when you've got.
Well, we are. He's tall, I'm short, so he can reach things I can't, and he's a realist and I'm a dreamer. Yeah. And that's the way our whole business has been. He'll roll his eyes all the time, like, hey, Brent, I want him with LED lights, and he'll roll his eyes. Okay, Russ, I'll go figure it out.
Oh, because these didn't start with the LEDs.
No.
See, I don't know enough of the history.
We started with these 10 designs that we thought were cool. Yeah. Called the Riptide, the Maui, the Tortuga. And today, I don't know last time we ever sold one of our designs. So we also learned how to pivot really fast. If someone says, hey, can I have a butterfly? We're like, sure. Hey, I have this dragon tattoo on my back. Can I have that on the board? Sure. Hey, I've got this tattoo of a skeleton on my arm. Can I have that? We're like, sure. It was weird. A lot of our designs actually came from people's tattoos.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
And we're like,
cool.
And so we just started pivoting, always saying yes. People say, can I have a snake? Yeah. Can I have a jellyfish? Yeah. So that was our pivot. We always looked at ourselves as like a build a bear, build a board. Yeah. So we allow people to have 20 different colors of wheels, 20 different colors of trucks. And the weird thing we morphed into, most skateboard companies are for 11-year-olds to 25-year-old males. Sure. We're actually a 2-year-old to 6-year-old, but we're 68% female.
Oh yeah, I
It's
believe that.
just so
'Cause
weird.
I mean, they're very
There's no
non-traditional.
there's no other skateboard company out there that does pink wheels and yellow trucks and all the things that we decided to do, which was so weird and against I'll say against the grain.
Yeah, can I rewind a little bit? I keep
Yeah.
having this question pop in my head. That is just an interesting thing that I like to ask. But how many W-2 jobs have you had since you dropped out of college? You like took a resume in and you got a W-2 for your taxes.
Yeah, when I was 16, I had one.
So after college.
After I haven't.
Maybe never.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's such an interesting thing. I can just tell by talking to you. You're not the W-2 type of guy.
I've never had a glass ceiling on me where you have to go clock in, be somewhere at 8, leave at 5. I've never had that life. I always thought, well, I've wondered, because I have a brother who's an engineer, went to college, has one job. He actually never even owns a phone.
Oh,
Yeah, he just goes to work, does his job, comes home.
interesting.
He's 47 years old, never owned a cell phone.
Oh, wow.
He goes, why? I go to work, I do my job, and I go home.
Yeah, very different wiring.
Yeah, so one of my brothers, I'm like, dude, where did you come from?
Does he have a landline? Like, how do you talk?
Yeah, you have to call his wife.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's very interesting wiring. So
My oldest cousin was like that for years. I was gonna have him. I want to kind of zoom it out.
yeah, show the board. So that's the same plexiglass.
Oh, yeah, right there.
Yeah, there you go.
So our logo for our Flat Bill Investor podcast is our cartoon looking. That's me. That's obviously Zach. This is that plexiglass for everyone that's listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my office, I actually have a skateboard that has my, cartoon character
Your
on it.
mug.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Your mug.
Mug. Oh,
The mug.
I thought you had
The
an
mug
official
shot.
name for it.
Your mug.
But this is awesome, especially with our background of our podcast. The one that I have changes colors.
But you can, with the remote, you can change the
Oh
color.
yeah, we got to find it.
So we got to find
Alright.
it. So now fast forward now to
Yeah.
we're in 2026. Like what's kind of a quick summary of what you guys have done since, Brent, you're talking to him in 2020 about quitting his job to where you guys are at today.
Yeah, the interesting part is when you go through that, you wish, if I could go back and tell any new entrepreneur starts on, bring in a quick operation mentor, tell you what to do, how to set things up. Because learning by shooting from the hip is so hard. You make every mistake in the world. You're like, oh, you need accounting. Oh, you need this. You need shipping. You need a warehouse. You need logistics. You need compliance. And all these things hit us so fast. I went from 50 kids working out of my garage and 3 pop-up tents in the driveway to getting a 8,000 square foot warehouse to buying machinery, trying to set it up. And I wish somebody would have come in and said, I'll be your consultant. Would have been worth paying somebody saying, let me help you not make all those mistakes.
One thing we talk about is having mentors, even with the EOS. So what an EOS representative will come into your company and then kind of like a consultant.
Yeah.
And then it's usually about 25, 30 grand over like 6 to 8 months. You
Sure.
pay 5,000 here and they take you off site and they make sure they, number one, they're trying to differentiate who's the.
It really matters the money because you're saving that much.
No, I was going to say anybody you talk to goes, yeah, this is well worth.
I didn't know what a payment processor was. And, you're using Shopify as in time. We even moved off that. I'm saying I'm saving $35,000 a year.
I was just, so you pay that. I used to tell people all the time 6% versus 2.5%. So
Correct. And you're like, you don't know. Or even shipping, like how much money you could save if you negotiate your price and UPS effects. Like millions of dollars I've wasted probably in shipping costs, that I shouldn't have. Or buying boxes. I'm buying from Uline at $6 a box and I find out, wait, a box company should be $1.38 a box.
Yeah.
Why am I paying 5 times? Like, there's so many things that you can learn that from a coach to come in and say, guys,
totally.
set your business up this way.
Yeah, I used to tell people all the time when I first started, I always say investing in mentorship.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It was $30,000 a year. And I used to say, I'm not paying $35,000 to make money. I'm also paying $30,000 to not lose money.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times you can get in and, speaking of Brent, I know we just have a few minutes left, but it reminded me of like when I had this company in 2021 and then we're about a year into it, my partner, just an integrator, actually told me to stop selling. And I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He goes, because we're going to implode if we don't. And I can now.
I understand those words very well.
I understand why he was saying that now, and I did stop. I pulled back, but also I was kind of like, okay, this is not. I don't. think this is the right move. That was just me. And
Yeah.
and as we talked about it and understood each other, then I kind of understood like, oh my gosh, we have a lot of stuff to take care of in the back end, or we will be out of business because everyone will be like, you guys can't even fulfill.
Yeah.
Why would I put stuff in? You guys can
I've
fulfill.
been there, and a few times I've had to almost put the full brakes on again and say, wait, we got to restructure. What are
Yeah.
we? Who are we? Even a couple of years ago, like, we don't even have a logo. I don't have a registered name. Seriously, I didn't. And I just barely got all that done. I was still like just flying the seat of my pants, and I'm like, I don't know, we got to come up with a logo. We have,
Yeah, I mean, you got into something that obviously took off very fast online, which
Yeah,
also
way too
shows kind of the
fast.
power
Yeah.
of visibility.
Right.
You get something goes viral.
Power of
that's great.
social media,
Yeah.
or I would say we have an eye candy product. So
Yeah.
it goes out there, every influencer hits you up, every person in
Yeah.
the world, and then you're trying to figure out, well, how do I ship a board to Russia? How do I get one to India? How do I get one to
Oh,
Brazil? And you're like, I don't know. And then stores are calling you, like, our
crazy
first
problems to have.
yeah,
those are all
Saks Fifth Avenue called me. I'm like, don't you guys sell like purses? Like, yes, but we want your boards. I'm like, all right, purses and boards, it is.
Yeah,
You know, and,
That's so
that
cool.
Hotel Del Coronado is like, I go, aren't you guys just a hotel? Yep, but we want your board.
I
I'm like,
mean, yeah, I'm sure there's so many
that we don't
applications for
know.
this,
We
so
were
it's
like,
great.
how do we sell to you?
It seems to me like one of the continuing themes that I hear from you is the yes and mentality,
Yes.
and that ready fire aim type of
Shoot from the
mentality.
hip and
that you
we'll
just
figure
gotta
it
like
out.
do it.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of what I've always been good at in mortgage is people would bring me their problems, and I was a solution guy.
Yeah.
The owner brought me a problem with a loan that wasn't going to be sold. How do I take care of this note? Or
Yeah.
an underwriter would come to me. So it's always easy for me to take any problem, say, I'll figure it out. That's easy. That's what I do.
What would you say, Russell? We talked earlier. I know we just got a couple minutes left, but we always talk about like people's superpower. What would you say, being in the mortgage business, being in the early candy business, selling candy in hospitals, to now at Ghost Boards, what would you say your superpower or superpowers are?
I would say two. One is I'm a chameleon. I can adapt to situations, if it be with ops people, salespeople, stores. I can really, really adapt to who I'm around. Then two is that superpower, I think, always finding a solution and I don't just say, oh, we have a problem. Okay, we're dead. No, I'm like, no, we have a problem. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of what I get excited about is someone bring me that problem. Like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And I don't hesitate with anything. I'm like, we're going to move forward no matter what. We're going to figure it out and ask questions later.
That's good. That's great.
Yeah. Well, I've said before, my first mentor when I was 23 was Jeff Rappaport. And I remember being in the class, and someone said, what's the secret to be successful at real estate? And he says, oh, it's just two words. It's problem solving.
Yeah.
He goes, if you become a good problem solver, no matter what you're doing in business, you'll become successful. And I remember writing that down, and so I've always just remembered that, but just being a problem solver.
I love that. We talked to a lot of different people. You've got my wheels turning. You've got me enthusiastic about all the problems, and the yes and mentality kind of really has stuck out to me. And I was going to say,
how successful this has been. This is
I was
awesome.
going to say, hearing your story and
great.
hearing what you've got, we might have to do a little follow up conversation too. But we really appreciate you coming up, making the trip, and sharing your story with us. It's been really, really great.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, until next time, invest in your future.
Invest in yourself.
This is the Flat Bill Investors Podcast, signing off.